In 2142, a space probe activates its systems when it finds the wreckage of the Nostromo, the ship from the first Alien movie. It opens a hatch and retrieves an object that appears to be organic. This object is taken to a space station where a group of scientists cut it open. Half of the object is taken away for research, while the half left behind is revealed to have an alien, known as Xenomorph. 6 months later, Rain talks to an employee from the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, which is in control of this mining colony. Rain explains she's met her work quota and she should be free to go. However, the employee tells her that due to a shortage of workers, she isn't eligible to leave. Instead, she will be transferred to the mines. And the system has updated her quota, so she'll be released from the contract in 5 years. At that moment, Rain notices her adopted brother Andy is being beaten up by some punks. She runs to check on Andy, who is bleeding white blood because he's an android. Using a special chip, Rain resets Andy to calm him down. Then Rain gets a message from her ex-boyfriend Tyler, who urgently asks her to come over. When the siblings make it to Tyler's ship, Tyler and his family explain that a derelict spaceship is drifting in orbit above the colony. This ship has multiple hypersleep chambers, and if they salvage them, they could finally escape the colony. They want Rain to join them because she can bring Andy, who can connect with the ship's computer and release any locks they may encounter. Soon the ship takes off and Tyler's cousin Bjorn shows off a neat fire trick with his lighter. The ship shakes a lot because of the ongoing storm, but once they manage to fly above the clouds, it's smooth sailing. When they finally find the derelict ship, they're surprised to discover it's a whole station. It's also closer to the asteroid rings than they thought, and they calculate it'll collide to crash in 36 hours. However, Tyler tells them not to worry because they should be in and out in 30 minutes. In private, Rain asks Andy if he wants to continue, and Andy says yes, because he only has one directive programmed by her dad, to make Rain happy. Once the ship connects to the station, Tyler, Bjorn, and Andy go aboard with a scanner. Andy puts his finger inside the first lock and the trio gets inside, although they have to move through a very narrow passage. The station's artificial gravity goes through a purge every few minutes, meaning it's constantly turning on and off. Eventually, the group leaves the passage and floats into a room, where they find the pods. At that moment, the gravity goes off and Bjorn falls, so Andy accesses the station's computer to turn on the power and get gravity under control. After that, they check on the pods, but unfortunately they discover they don't have enough fuel to last the 9-year trip to the nearest planet. Tyler ejects the pods for their ship to pick up, while he and his partners go looking for more fuel. On the other side, Bjorn's sister Navarro pilots the ship and picks up the pods with no issues. While Navarro goes to check on the pods, Rain takes care of Tyler's sister Kay because she's not well, and Kay admits she's pregnant and asks Rain to keep the secret. In the station, the trio is still searching when suddenly they hear a recording about the station. Just like the mines, it belongs to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The station is named Renaissance and is divided into 2 parts, Romulus and Remus. While they look around, Bjorn gets annoyed by Andy's presence because he hates androids, so he reveals Andy can't come with them to the new planet. Tyler is also sad to confirm this, explaining the planet they'll go to doesn't allow androids. However, Andy says it's fine because what's best for Rain is also best for him. Moments later, the 3 of them make it to a deserted yet active lab. Bjorn finds a stun rod while he plays around with it, and then he almost falls into a hole, but Andy grabs him just in time. They also find a damaged android and notice both of them were destroyed by some kind of chemical spill. The boys keep going until they get to the cryo chamber, where the door only opens halfway. The gap is big enough for them to come in and they discover the room is flooded. While Tyler and Bjorn attempt to retrieve the fuel from the compartment, Bjorn freezes his fingers in the process. At that moment, an alarm goes off and the door closes, leaving them trapped. Andy tries opening the lock but can't because it requires higher clearance. The computer in the neighboring room indicates that inside the cryo chamber there are frozen aliens known as facehuggers, who are starting to awaken. Navarro and Rain have no choice but to board the station to save their friends. While searching for their friends, Rain finds the destroyed android and wants to check if she can transfer its credentials to Andy. At that moment, the android wakes up and tries to attack Rain, so Navarro quickly removes its module to shut it down. Then the girls run to the lab and give the guys the module through a narrow gap on the door. Tyler puts the module inside Andy, and instantly he freezes while he reboots. At that moment, the facehuggers wake up and hide in the water. Then the alien jumps on his face, but Bjorn manages to pull it off and throws it against the door. At the same time, Tyler dodges a face hugger in the water, but there's another one climbing on Andy who makes a jump and lands on Tyler's face. As it tries to insert its appendage into Tyler's mouth, Bjorn uses the stun rod to make the alien fall off. Unconscious Tyler falls into the water, while the face hugger attacks Bjorn, who manages to defend himself. Rain tries to open the door by force, but Navarro refuses to help, because she's afraid the aliens will escape. Bjorn continues to fight the aliens while a face hugger goes after Tyler, who is now waking up. Thankfully, Andy also awakens and grabs the alien by the tail to kill it. Then Andy inserts his finger, and this time the door does open, so the guys immediately escape. Unfortunately, a gap is left and the face huggers work together to open it again. The alien horde starts chasing all of them, who run into another room and lock the door. But a face hugger manages to cross through before the door closes and lands on Navarro's face. The others rush to help her, but it's too late. The face hugger has its tail around her neck. If they try to remove it by force, it'll kill her. To everyone's shock, Andy starts explaining that the alien is sharing oxygen with Navarro to keep her alive. He sounds more intelligent and less nervous than before. Rain realizes the new module is doing this, but Andy stops her from removing it, saying he's been updated. He doesn't know how to remove the face hugger safely, so he proposes to turn on the destroyed android. They connect him to the computer, and when he awakes, he introduces himself as Science Officer Rook. He tells them they should kill Navarro, because the face hugger is implanting an alien inside her, so it's too late to save her. It turns out that this ship and its entire crew were killed by the xenomorph, which is now hanging dead from the cables in the hull. It was its acid that caused all the damage too. Rook sealed the station after the alien died, but it was too late. Then Rain has an idea. They should try using the cryonic liquid to freeze the face hugger. Tyler shoots the liquid at the alien, and as soon as its tail loosens up, they remove it from Navarro's face. Tyler tries to kill it. However, the face hugger escapes through the hole in the ground. Everyone is glad to see Navarro is fine, but Rook warns them there's a 60% chance of an alien being inside her. Andy tells the group they shouldn't take Navarro back, so Bjorn shocks him with the rod and uses the chance to run with Navarro. Suddenly, Andy hears something and rushes to the corridor to discover Bjorn is sealing the doors. Andy grabs a door to try to keep it open, so Bjorn runs to the next one and closes it quickly. This leaves Andy, Rain, and Tyler trapped inside the station. Navarro detaches their ship from the station, but before it can go far, she starts feeling weird. So she uses the X-ray light on her body and discovers she has an alien inside, like Rook predicted. Then Navarro starts having a seizure and an alien bursts out of her body. Without a pilot, the ship starts losing control and crashes against the station, causing a big explosion when it destroys a fuel tank. It also knocks Kay and Bjorn out. The ship keeps on floating and enters the station's hangar bay, where it breaks a window and causes a vacuum effect. Thankfully, the doors close just in time, but this has destabilized the station, and now it only has 47 minutes before it crashes on the planet's asteroid rings. Rain and Tyler are trying to find a way to cross the station and reach their ship, but when they're about to open a door, they find a bunch of face huggers on the other side. Meanwhile, Rook checks the computer to make sure that the compound is still intact. Then it asks Andy for help, making him realize that the new module overwrote his directive. Instead of helping Rain, his goal is now to finish the station's mission. Then Andy reunites with Rain and Tyler and shares some information about face huggers. As these creatures can't see, and only find people by sensing their body temperature, this means they could raise the temperature in the room to match their bodies and become invisible. After Andy uses the thermostat to get the desired temperature, the trio starts crossing the room and has to make a great effort not to react to the bodies they find in every corner. On the ship, Kay wakes up and goes looking for her friends. In the corridor, she finds the skin of the creature left behind before making the cocoon that now hangs on the wall. At that moment, Bjorn finds her and makes her step back before he inserts the rod into the cocoon to electrocute it, until the alien's acid destroys the rod. This attack isn't enough, and the creature's acid keeps pouring out and falls on Bjorn until it kills him. As a new xenomorph starts coming out, Kay rushes to the door but unable to open it, so she calls Tyler. He's still in the room with the face huggers, so he has to whisper instructions for her. Then Kay manages to find a key and opens the door to run away before the alien can reach her. Since she's keeping her eyes on the creature, she falls off the ship hatch and lands hard on the station's hangar. All the noise coming through the mic alerts the face huggers and they begin to attack. The trio immediately runs away and Tyler throws a flare to distract, But the trick doesn't last long and soon the aliens are chasing them again. So when Andy makes it to the door, he starts closing it. Tyler and Rain have to run fast across right before the door closes. When Rain yells at Andy, he claims he did the calculations and knew they'd make it. With only 30 minutes left before crashing, the sprinklers activate in the hangar bay and Kay wakes up. She can hear the creature coming towards her, and once it's left, Kay tries reaching the hangar door, but she mistakenly activates the alarm. At that moment, the trio appears on the other side of the door, but Andy refuses to open it. He can see the xenomorph waiting, which means it's using Kay as bait. Rain tells him that Kay is pregnant to appeal to his pity, but it doesn't work, and soon the xenomorph takes Kay away. Furious Rain slaps Andy and asks him about his directive, so he says he must choose what's best for the company. Then Andy makes Rain and Tyler get in the elevator while explaining he must finish the mission, so Rook will open the hangar door and let them leave. They arrive at a lab and find a tank full of a strange liquid. Rook appears on the computer screen and tells them that humanity was never meant to explore the universe because their bodies can't take it. So the company created this station to study the aliens and use their fluids to enhance humans. In a video, they see a rat getting crushed almost to death, but after the scientists injected it with the compound, it healed instantly. Andy grabs all the compound samples and gets ready to take them to the colony, but Rain stops him when she sees the xenomorph on the security camera. Then Andy gets 2 pulse rifles from a cabinet and gives them to Rain and Tyler, telling them to only shoot if it's necessary, because if the alien bleeds acid, it'll cause a hull breach. The 3 of them leave the lab, unaware that it turns out the rat mutated into the dead monster. With only 20 minutes before impact, they begin to cross the station and find lots of xenomorph resin, which means there's more than one around. When Andy turns on the lights, they're disgusted to see a full alien hive on the walls. Andy and Rain want to go back and find another corridor, but Tyler hears Kay's voice and rushes into the hive. Rain follows him and they see tons of bodies cocooned with the alien resin, including Kay's. The duo pulls her out and her pulse is still very weak, so Andy offers a compound injection to help her. But Rain stops him because she's wary of the substance and tells him Kay may survive if they take her to a cryo chamber. At that moment, they hear a xenomorph approaching, so they run out of the hive into another room. There's another xenomorph there and it tries to stab Rain with its tail, but Tyler jumps in to protect her and gets stabbed instead. Then the alien uses Tyler's body to hit Andy and incapacitate him before dragging Tyler into the hive, where more creatures surround him and kill him. Rain and Kay rush into the elevator and manage to escape before the aliens reach them. However, Rain can't stop thinking about her brother, so she drops Kay and the samples at the hangar bay, telling her to go back to the colony. After Rain leaves, Kay worries about her baby and decides to inject herself with the compound. With only 10 minutes left before impact, Rain makes it to the hive and removes the module from Andy before resetting him. When he wakes up, he's his old self again. When the xenomorphs are coming closer, Rook refuses to open the doors for them because it may put the compound at risk. Then Rain got an idea. First, she disables the station's gravity and starts shooting at the xenomorphs. Now their acid blood floats around instead of falling on the hull. With Andy holding her down, Rain shoots every creature without mercy until all of them are dead. Then the duo starts navigating the corridors while carefully avoiding the acid. Eventually, the duo makes it to the elevator shaft and plan to go up climbing, since the elevator can't work without gravity. Andy makes a jump, but Rain can't move because a xenomorph grabs her leg. She immediately shoots its arm and begins floating up, unaware that the acid has created a hole in the door. Andy manages to hold onto the stairs, while Rain tries to recover the rifle, which is floating away. At that moment, gravity goes through a purge and Rain falls. The elevator is also coming down, but thankfully Andy catches it. Before she can crash on the ground, a xenomorph grabs Rain with its tail. As Rain desperately grabs onto the stairs trying to escape, the lack of gravity makes all the acid in the corridor fall, creating a vacuum effect. This slows down the xenomorph's climbing speed, so Andy lets go of the elevator, which goes down at great speed and crushes all the creatures. Rain is safe on the stairs, and when the elevator reaches the ground, it covers the hole and stops the vacuum. Unfortunately, there's a xenomorph left in the shaft and it approaches Rain together with a face hugger. At that moment, Andy finds the rifle and comes down with open fire, killing both creatures in seconds. Suddenly, the computer finishes the countdown and the station starts sliding on the asteroid ring. Andy and Rain finally make it to the ship and find Kay unconscious. Rain immediately activates the ship's autopilot and the ship manages to fly out of the station right before it fully crashes. Then Rain puts Kay in the cryopod and cuts the link to the station, so Rook can't mock them anymore. Before she starts getting a cryopod ready for herself, she notices a screen alerting her of critical vitals and opens the other pod to find Kay screaming. It turns out the compound accelerated her pregnancy, and she now gives birth to a xenomorph-like egg. Rain immediately cuts the umbilical cord and takes it away to destroy it, but she has to drop it when she sees the acid. The egg opens, revealing a creepy baby inside. The acid burns through the floor and the egg lands in the cargo bay. When the ship detects that the cargo has been compromised, it shuts down the autopilot and changes it to manual. With a freezing spray in hand, Rain runs to the cargo bay and finds the egg empty, so she starts following the monstrous footprints. At the same time, Andy wakes up and checks on Kay, who is producing a sticky substance instead of milk. Her now-grown child appears and strikes down Andy before moving on top of its mother to feed, but the creature eats her alive. Then Rain shows up and tries to attack it, but the creature quickly disarms her and knocks her down. The broken freezing spray ejects frosty smoke that distracts the creature while Rain runs back to Andy, but he's too heavy to move. So Rain runs away alone and locks the door behind her. The temperature is going down very quickly, so Rain puts on a spacesuit to survive. As the creature starts forcing the door open, Rain jumps into the cargo bay and begins to disengage the manual locks, intending to eject the entire bay with the creature. She opens the first 3 locks very quickly, but before she can do the 4th, the creature strikes her down. Rain notices the egg nearby and tips it over, letting the acid melt through the floor. Her suit is attached to the ship with a rope so she doesn't float away when she falls, but when she starts climbing back, the creature grabs her head and cracks her helmet. Noticing it's holding onto the bay with its tail, Rain pulls at her rope and opens the last lock, ejecting the whole bay module and sending the monster to its death when it crashes on the asteroids. The ship is falling too close to the asteroids, so the sensors reactivate the autopilot, and Rain gets to climb back safely before the ship flies away. Moments later, Rain places Andy's damaged body in a cryopod, removing his module and promising to fix him before entering a pod herself, hoping they'll reach a planet alive. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like my video,